Welcome, everyone. Thanks for participating in this webcast today. I'm Pam Rasmussen from QIAGEN, the developer of the DIGEN HPV test, which is the first and currently only test for high-risk types of HPV that's approved by the FDA. QIAGEN heard about Marissa Jaret Winokur last year after we saw a little item in the newspaper, and we learned about her own struggle with cervical cancer. And we found her as a personality and her story so inspiring that we wanted to reach out to her right away to help her story get to every woman across the country. We thought it would help really inspire women to do what they can to prevent cervical cancer so they don't go through what Marissa did. And she's really proved to be a very effective spokesperson, mainly because of her really positive energy and her infectious enthusiasm. And when you meet Marissa, actually, one of the things you think about is what a great mom she would be. Unfortunately, one of the sad aspects about cervical cancer among women who live is that it deprives you of your ability to have children. So that's why we were so happy when we found that Marissa had found a way to have her own child with the help of a surrogate. You'll hear more about that. So we wanted to help celebrate, but also use this opportunity again to reach out to women and let them know that there is life after cervical cancer, but there's something that you could do to prevent it. And that's really what the point of this webcast is today, to share her story and tell you what your readers can do to prevent the disease. And also, just to really show our commitment, we've created a special page off of the HPVtest.com. At www.hptest.com/pledge, where women across the country can participate as well, not just a small group. And they'll be able to go to the page and pledge if they're 30 or over to get the HPV test, or for women of all ages to spread the word to their friends and family. And to show, to go beyond that and say we're not just here to make the test, we're going to give $1 for every woman who takes the pledge to two organizations that are set up by fellow cervical cancer survivors like Marissa. The Umbrella organization, that's Christine Bays, and Tamika and Friends, Tamika Felder. And their whole point is to educate women across the country. So one of the first things you'll hear today is from Dr. Marissa Savard. She's a Philadelphia area internist, author, speaker, and medical commentator for ABC News. But she really has dedicated herself to empowering women to take charge of their own health. And she's going to talk a little bit first about what women need to know. And then we'll move on to Marissa's story, and we'll have questions at the end. So I'm going to pass it on to Dr. Savard.
Thank you so much. Thanks all of you for joining us. This is an incredibly important topic. It's an extraordinary story. Never before have we known the single cause of a cancer, cervical cancer, that impacts so many women. We not only know the cause, but we know how to diagnose it. And the bottom line is, no woman today, if we use the technologies we have available, should either be diagnosed with a condition, should go through what you'll hear Marissa has gone through, and certainly no woman should die of the disease. And what does that mean? That means every woman should have a combination of, once they're 21 or over, the Pap test. For all women ages 30 and over, they really need to have both the Pap test and the HPV test, the very test that detects whether or not you're even at risk for that cancer. And then finally, yes, there is the vaccine, the HPV vaccine, and there's been so many great stories about the vaccine, but the truth is it doesn't cover all strains of the virus, and women will need to continue to be screened lifelong, even after they've received the vaccine. And the bottom line is there are millions of women out there right now who need this information about screening so they can truly get the most up-to-date testing. The Pap test has been great. It has eliminated a lot of cervical cancer. But it's not perfect. And when you hear even in Marissa's story, it missed her cancer. It missed her cell changes. It wasn't until she was diagnosed with cancer was her Pap test abnormal. And that's where the HPV test comes in. Today, it's available to women. It wasn't available to her. And that test can tell your doctor, even before you develop serious cell changes, whether or not you carry the persistent form of the virus. That means you're not getting rid of the virus. Your immune system isn't kicking in. So the most critical message I feel that women need to hear about is the importance of asking their doctor. I say just ask, just insist. When you make that next doctor's appointment, let your doctor know if you're 30 and over, you would like both the Pap test and the HPV test, because together that can give you 100% peace of mind. And that means you, and if you spread the word, no other woman needs to go through what Marissa will tell you she has gone through. So again, thank you. We're going to save questions to the end, but I'm just so grateful for you joining us today. It's such an important topic. Thank you.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Marissa Jaret Winokur. My story
started off great. All I ever wanted to do was be on Broadway. That was my dream. That was my goal. I wanted to be on a Broadway show. And a lot of you might know that I starred in Broadway in Hairspray, and it was everything I wanted it to be. But prior to that, what a lot of people didn't know was I was diagnosed with cervical cancer. So for me, I was working on Hairspray in all the workshops and doing my thing, and during that time I found out I had cervical cancer. So I didn't tell anybody in the show because I wanted to still do the show, and I was scared that if they found out I had cancer, they would replace me with someone else. So luckily enough for me, the timing worked out, and I was able to deal with having cancer. At the time, there was no HPV test. There was no early detection, and I had gone for my pap smears every year. I never missed my pap, and the pap missed that I had cancer. So when I finally got it, my cancer had already spread. So I'm very passionate. I actually have to tell you that I didn't even really think about it. When I had cancer, I was like, I just want to do my show. I'm not going to let this cancer take me down. I'm just going to worry about doing my show and doing everything and living my life. And I did it in a way that I made sure that it wouldn't take away from anything that I was doing. And now, last year at 34, I decided it was time for me to have a baby. And I was lucky enough that I had a radical hysterectomy, which means that I was able to keep my ovaries. So I was able to have a biological child, but it was the first time I actually thought about the fact that I'd had cancer. So this is when I got really into reading about HPV and reading about what cancer and cervical cancer really meant, because it was the first time I actually examined the fact that I am now a cancer survivor, and it was the first time cancer was actually holding me back. So for me, I became very educated. I wanted to know what my cancer was. Why did I have cancer? You ask all these questions, but I wasn't doing that prior to last year when I wanted to have a baby.